Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It seems like it's a weekend event that trying to get this somewhat in a roller state. Got the frame all painted, all the brackets are removed, the back brackets, everything's prepped to start bolting stuff up. You will need a 1/2-inch drill bit. The bolt holes do line up, but they're not perfect. So I'll get the shock tower up there clamped and then I'll show you what I mean. All right, Super Duty coil bucket is clamped up there. As you guys can see, those 5 holes are the factory Super Duty holes that I just chiseled off the rivets like I did the 79 frame. This hole, you can see that there's actually a piece of wood. It lines up almost perfectly. The bottom 2 line up almost perfectly. You can see they're off just a touch. And then there's a hole right here that it lines up pretty good as well. So what you have to do is you have to clamp it. I normally start with the bottom one, drill it because it is off just a little bit, and get my bolt, cinch it up to the bottom of the frame, and then clamp it tight to the side of the frame, and then that's when you can actually drill these 2 holes. And then you can throw a bolt in this one, but I decide when I did my other truck, I drilled the top 2. So the bottom 2 pretty much almost line up, and then the top 2 you'll have to drill yourself. But other than that, it is pretty easy to follow along as far as the holes lining up. Putting these in, I like to use grade 8 bolts. Really was looking for a fine thread, but this is all the Home Depot had. But take a look at this. This is the regular bolt, and then look at this side. This sucker looks like a darn Cheeto. I don't know if you can see it, but that sucker is orange as a safety cone. Alright, driver's side is done. Got the bolts on the bottom. See one right here in the beginning. This is I used the factory hole in the Super Duty tower, and then had to open up the hole with a 1/2 inch. But make sure you get a brand new or very sharp 1/2 inch drill bit, because there's one thing that I don't like is drilling frames, and then if you have a dull drill bit and you just want to beat your head against the wall, but this one is, it's in. All right, well, passenger side coil bucket is on. Got all my 1/2" grade 8 bolts Loctited. Again, you always want to make sure you start with this lower corner. Get this big C-clamp and clamp it towards the frame, and then get a pair of vice grips and clamp it up to the bottom of the lip, so that way you're tightening up. And then start with this bolt and make sure it's up against the frame. Drill this one out, and then these ones are relatively close to the holes that are existing. Just run your 1/2" bit through there, and everything else should be snug against the frame. So I'm going to move on. What I do have to work on is, take you over here. Whenever I cut the trailing arm brackets off, I used a torch, and I left the rivets in the actual bracket themselves. So I have to punch those out, and then those will be ready to put onto the frame. So I'm going to put those on the press real quick, and then I'll set you guys up with the time lapse. Keep the two-wheel drive cross member, there's 2 rivets right here. This is the first one, this is the second one. The second rivet will interfere with this mounting. So what I did was I just air chiseled it, the head off. It does still have a flange, so it won't be able to pull through. That, and these are really difficult actually to air hammer through, so unless you're making 1500 horsepower, I don't think you should have any issues. Save you guys some headache. If you can see, let's see, where's the light? All right, see how those holes are off center? I think whenever I cut them off with the torch, that it kind of distorted it. So to save yourself from fighting it, and as the one that was off, I ran the bolts through it. And then I'm going to grind a little spot, and I'm going to put a spot weld on the top where the holes are, where they line up, so that when I take them out, the holes don't offset, and it'll I can drill straight through it. All right, so I'm just going to put a couple tacks right here, keep these 2 pieces together after I take the bolts out. I think whenever I was taking them off with the torch, and maybe distort them a little bit, and the bolt holes doesn't line up if you take the bolts out. guys for watching my YouTube channel. Stay tuned as I continue to work through some of the challenges, trying to get this axle in and making this truck four-wheel drive. Till next time, thanks.